Hello everyone, welcome to our presentation. I am Bharat Joshi from Autonomous Field Robotics Lab, University of South Carolina. Today I will be presenting DeepURL, a real-time deep learning approach for determining the 60 relative pose of autonomous underwater vehicle from a single image. This work is done in collaboration with McGill University and Dartmouth College. Many applications, such as shipwreck mapping and coral reef monitoring with robots, require relative localization between them to efficiently accomplish the task in an environment that is GPS denied and communication constrained. This motivates our work on determining the 60 relative pose of Aqua 2 AUV for relative localization from a single image. Recently, deep learning-based techniques have gained popularity for 60 pose estimation. Most current approaches predict 2D projections of 3D keypoints on an image and then obtaining pose via perspective endpoint, that is PnP algorithm. In BB8, Rad and Lepetit classify the range of a pose at runtime before estimating it. Tekin et al. Proposed YOLO version 2 based high-speed neural network which achieves an inference speed of 50 frames per second on NVIDIA Titan GPU. Peng et al. Used a pixel-wise voting network to regress pixel-wise unit vectors pointing to the key points and use those vectors to vote for key point locations using RANSAC. Almost all of these methods either use a linear mode or YCB video dataset or both for training and testing purposes. Both datasets contain RGB and depth registered images of well-textured objects with accurate 6 degrees of freedom ground truth poses. An easily applicable method for collecting underwater training data with accurate 60 ground truth poses is not available. Hence, training data is obtained by projecting the 3D model of Aqua 2 swimming over underwater images using Unreal Engine 4 simulator. Moreover, the ground truth poses of Aqua 2 swimming along with the flipper motion are obtained, which we call the rendered dataset. However, these rendered images do not look like realistic underwater images. The rendered images vary significantly from real underwater images in terms of color loss, low visibility, and blurry object edges. Comparing indoor and underwater images, we can clearly see that the red color is attenuated in the underwater image of Aqua 2. Moreover, the degree of color attenuation might vary depending on water turbidity, lighting conditions, water depth, capturing camera instances, and so on. Thus, using only rendered images for training hampers the performance of deep learning-based 6D pose estimation methods, as the training domain and the testing domain is significantly different. To bridge this gap between rendered and underwater images, we employ CycleGAN, a type of generative adversarial network that can perform unpaired image-to-image translation. In our case, we train the CycleGAN generator to produce fake underwater images from rendered images and try to fool the discriminator as real underwater images. In this way, we create a synthetically generated dataset resembling real underwater images. We train two instances of CycleGAN producing two different types of synthetic images. The first instance of CycleGAN is trained to produce synthetic images that look like swimming pool images captured using another Aqua 2 robot. The second instance of CycleGAN is trained to produce synthetic images resembling Aqua 2 swimming in a marine environment captured using a GoPro camera. Creating different types of synthetic images introduces variations in the training dataset and thus helps in generalization and reducing overfitting. As the pose of the robot remains unchanged during synthetic data generation, ground truth labels are transferred from rendered to the synthetic dataset. The proposed neural network is trained only on synthetic dataset. The network architecture consists of a common darknet 53 encoder introduced in YOLO version 3 and two detector streams, namely the object detection decoder and pose regression decoder. The detection decoder detects objects with bounding boxes and pose regression decoder regresses to 2D corner key points of the 3D object model. The object detection stream is similar to that of YOLO version 3 and object detection loss LDAT is a combination of coordinate prediction loss, objectness score loss, and class prediction loss, similar to YOLO version 3, which we refer to for a complete description. The image is divided into grid cells, and the cells that fall inside the bounding box, meaning belonging to the object, only contribute to the 2D key points predictions. Pose regression decoder predicts the projections of 8 corners of the equatorial object model bounding boxes as key points. For the ith key point, each grid cell predicts the offset Fi from the grid center C, resulting in the key point position Fi plus C in the image coordinates. Then we calculate the prediction offset for each key point I from the ground truth Gi. Key point predictions from grid cells falling inside the object detection box are only selected. Only using grid cells falling inside the object detection box for 2D key point predictions focuses on image regions that truly belong to the object. Thus, total offset loss L is the sum of the L1 norm of all key point offsets from selected grids. Apart from 2D key point locations, the post regression stream also calculates the confidence value VIC for each predicted point. The confidence value should be representative of the distance between the predicted key point and ground truth value. If the offset between the prediction and ground truth is high, then the confidence of such prediction should be low and vice versa. A sharp exponential function of the 2D Euclidean distance between the prediction and ground truth is used as confidence. The parameter alpha defines the sharpness of the exponential function, and we chose alpha to be 6. This exponential function, as shown in the figure, is a good estimate of confidence as it decreases with the increase in offset and vice versa. Hence, confidence loss is calculated as the sum of deviation of the predicted confidence from the calculated confidence for all key points. Total pose regression loss is calculated as a weighted combination of offset and confidence loss, and total training loss is the sum of detection and pose regression loss. Our framework is tested in 3 different underwater datasets: pool dataset, GoPro dataset, and Barbados 2017 dataset. We will explain about these datasets later. During inference, the decoder stream produces an object detection bounding box after non-max suppression. Simultaneously, the pose regression stream produces the projected 2D locations of the object's 3D model along with their confidence scores for each grid cell. The 2D key point predictions for grid cells that fall outside of the bounding box are filtered out. The key points with confidence score less than 0.5 are also filtered out. Then we select the 12 most confident predictions for each 3D key point. Finally, we employ RANSAC-based PnP on these 96 2D to 3D correspondence pairs between the image key points and object's 3D model to obtain a robust pose estimate. To generate our pool dataset, we deployed 2 robots, one robot observing the other with a vision-based 2D fiducial marker or AR tag mounted on the top during 2 pool trials in the indoor and outdoor swimming pools. Approximately 11,000 images were collected with estimated ground truth provided from the pose detection of the AR tag. In the video, green is the 2D projection of the 3D wireframe model using ground truth pose, and red using predicted pose. We compare the performance of our network with Tekin et al. And PVNet in terms of translation error, orientation error, rep10px, and add 0.1d matrix. For the rep10px metric, we consider the pose estimate as correct if the average reprojection error is below a 10 pixels threshold. The add matrix takes the pose estimate as correct if the mean distance between the coordinates of the 3D model vertices transformed by estimated and ground truth poses fall below 10% of the model diameter. Our network outperforms both Tekin et al. And PVNet in terms of accuracy. Although slightly slower than Tekin et al., it is real-time with an inference speed of 40 frames per second on NVIDIA RTX 2080 GPU. We collected images underwater in Barbados of an equatorial robot swimming over coral reefs using a GoPro camera. which differs significantly from the images collected using another Aqua2 in terms of hue, image size, and aspect ratio. Given that ground truth is not available for these images, this dataset was only used for qualitative evaluation. The green in the video represents predicted detection box, and red represents the predicted 2D projection of the 3D object model. The Barbados 2017 dataset is collected during underwater field trials off the west coast of Barbados. The observed robot is equipped with an ultra-short baseline modem, and the observing robot is another Aqua2 robot. DeepURL outperforms Quattrini et al., who originally collected and used this dataset for pose estimation in terms of translation and rotation errors. Predictions of pose estimate might be wrong when the detection stream fails to predict the object detection box, which is inherent in the YOLO version 3 architecture. Even if the object is detected successfully, not enough keypoints might have the confidence above the confidence threshold of 0.5. In that case, we do not have enough points for RANSAC-based PnP algorithm. At least 6 2D to 3D correspondences are required. In some rare cases, PnP might not converge if 2D to 3D correspondences are not in consensus. The system may also fail for position and orientation not introduced in the training scenarios. Since there are only few wrong pose predictions, they can be filtered out using state estimation algorithms like Kalman filter. To understand the impact of cycle GAN-based domain adaptation, we trained DeepURL only on rendered images. Even though the network performed well on validation set consisting of rendered images only, without training on the synthetic dataset, it was not able to generalize to real-world pool images. The intuition is that real-world underwater images differ significantly from rendered images in terms of texture, color, and appearance. We presented a system for 60 pose estimation of an autonomous underwater vehicle for relative localization. The system learns to predict the 60 pose without the need for any real ground truth, which enables pose estimation in an environment where ground truth is difficult to acquire. We also present a detection bounding box based keypoint sampling strategy which leads to better estimate of the pose of the observed robots. Finally, I would like to thank my colleagues MD Modasshir, Travis Manderson, Hunter Damron, Marius Xanthidis for their help and contribution. I would also like to thank Professors Alberto Quattrini, Ioannis Rekleitis, and Gregory Dudek for their continuous support and supervision. We would also like to acknowledge the generous support of NSF for grants. Our dataset and code are publicly available. Thank you.